Welcome back to the Atlas Voices. Today, I wanted to talk about pregnancy and sports and also a little bit about motherhood. Last summer, during the Olympics and Paralympics in Paris, a few stories came out about athletes being pregnant during the competition, and of course, it created a lot of discourse. And so it made me want to explore this subject a bit deeper. After her fencing event, Egypt's Nada Hafez finished the competition ranked 16th, which was her best result in 3 Olympics. She also shared at the end of the competition that she had been pregnant for 7 months. A day after this news, Yaila Gol Ramazanova, an Azerbaijani archer, also revealed on Instagram to have competed while 6.5 months pregnant. She told journalists that she'd felt her baby kick before she took a shot and then shot at 10, the maximum number of points. Going back a few years ago, during the Tokyo Paralympics, the American volleyball player Laura Webster was 5 months pregnant and expecting her 4th child. She explained at the time to journalists that she didn't really remember half of the time of her being pregnant when she was playing, except for the occasional kicks. The only thing she had to do was to be a bit more conscious of how she was diving, because she had to consider that she couldn't dive straight onto her stomach like she would usually do. Another example is Serena Williams. She won the Australian Open in 2017 while pregnant with a first child. But 5 years later, when she wanted to try for a second child, she stepped back from tennis. She actually wrote an essay in Vogue saying, and I'm quoting, "Believe me, I never wanted to have to choose between tennis and family. I don't think it's fair. If I were a guy, I wouldn't be writing this because I'd be out there playing and winning while my wife was doing the physical labor of expanding our family." But female athletes getting pregnant and subsequently becoming mothers have been a source of discussion in sports since women started partaking in sports, really. If we go back in time a little bit, we can find other examples like Francina Blankers-Koen, who won 4 gold medals for the Netherlands in the 1948 Games in London. She was a runner, so she won at the 100-meter and 200-meter runs, the 80-meter hurdle, and the 4 times 100 meters relay. But her initial entry into the games was strongly criticized by the public and press in the countries because she was married, had born 2 children, and was thought too old to compete. By the way, she was 30 at the time. But why does it bother people so much that sportswomen can be mothers too? Why there's a need to choose one or the other? Most people would say that it's dangerous for pregnant women to exercise, especially for athletes, since their exercise routine is way more strenuous than those of regular women. But is that true? What does the science actually say about it? According to the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, exercising during pregnancy and postpartum is safe. In their latest report, they write, "Observational studies of women who exercise during pregnancy have shown benefits such as decreasing gestational diabetes, C-section birth and operative vaginal delivery, and postpartum recovery time. Physical activity can also be an essential factor in the prevention of depressive disorders of women in postpartum period. They also add that several reviews have determined that there is no credible evidence to prescribe bed rest in pregnancy for the prevention of preterm labor, and it should not be routinely recommended actually. So if in the past it was prescribed by doctors to rest as much as possible and not do too much, this recommendation is no longer valid. But you may still wonder if that applies to athletes too. After all, their physical activity is clearly not the same of regular women or men. While there has been some focus in the recent years regarding this topic in the scientific literature, there are still very limited reviews regarding the experience of elite athletes with pregnancy and motherhood. So in terms of safety issues, research findings on the topic indicate that there are no significant difference in the occurrence of complications during pregnancy and delivery between elite athletes or non-athletes. So that happens and that varies depending on the individual basically. But the research also shows that actually athletes often report fewer common complaints compared to non-athletes with pregnancy and delivery. And this might be linked to the benefits of physical activity during pregnancy. These findings are definitely noteworthy because they address concerns expressed by some athletes that exercising during pregnancy may lead to complications for both the child and the birthing process. But in terms of injury risks during pregnancy and the postpartum period, in elite athletes, the current literature is still very limited and presents actually conflicting findings. So more research needs to be done to understand in what ways athletes could get injured during or after pregnancy and how to prevent these injuries from happening. It would be actually extremely beneficial to the athletes and their surrounding health team to know all those things, right? Studies also suggest that women who return to elite sport after pregnancy can expect to return to a similar pre-pregnancy level or even see improvements in their athletic performance. That is specifically the case in sports like handball, football, and distance running. But apart from the safety concerns, we have to talk about the elephant in the room, aka the baby. Who takes care of the baby? How do athletes navigate their work in sports with their new role as mothers? Research has shown that elite athletes see the lack of childcare as the biggest barrier to training in the postpartum period. Keep in mind that most female athletes cannot support themselves with what they earn as professional athletes, so they often have a second job. But even for those who can, it's not always a given that they have someone who can take care of their baby when they train, and the question can get even more complex for single mothers. On top of that, studies show that childcare poses challenges within team systems because coaches often express some uncertainty about players with children being able to find suitable childcare for games, which leads them to be less likely to select these players in the first place. To address these issues, further research is necessary to understand the specific challenges and identify the potential solutions to support elite women successfully competing in elite sports. And this leads me to my last point, the fact that many athletes feel like their identity as a mother overtakes their identity as a sportswoman. And as a result, many athletes feel guilty trying to do both. The research that has been done on these conflicting identities demonstrate that these identities are further compounded by the cultural and societal complexity of media portrayals of elite pregnant athletes. As Serena Williams expressed in her essay, elite female athletes have to make the tough decision between being a mother or an elite athlete in a system that typically does not support both. Because although athletes train and compete at the elite level during their reproductive years, sport policies that support pregnant athletes are lacking. The experience of elite athletes during pregnancy are vastly underrepresented, not only in the media, but also in sports institutions, and such voices are really needed to support evidence-informed policies. Recent studies have identified a lack of support and an uncertainty surrounding pregnancy and governmental funding or corporate sponsorship for elite pregnant athletes. Female athletes' experience of motherhood and elite sport are greatly influenced by the culture of the organization. That's why there is a critical need to have role models who became pregnant and returned to elite sport, as well as a need for a supportive network consisting of teammates, coaches, and family. Because without an open and supportive environment, many athletes are worried about disclosing their pregnancy out of fear of being viewed as undedicated to their sport, often delaying the disclosure until late in pregnancy. That's also the examples I gave, all those women participating in the Olympics but only disclosing their pregnancy once they were done with the competitions. Research has demonstrated time and time again that organizations with clear policies and regulations about the financial support and eligibility allowed athletes to make informed decisions on when and whether to get pregnant. Overall, I think positive stories of athletes being able to compete while pregnant or get back to sports after having a child, like the ones I shared at the beginning of the episode, are crucial to inspire athletes to become mothers if that's what they want. As I said throughout the episode, more research needs to be done to not only reassure athletes about their safety before and after pregnancy, but also to create clear policies for them to know how to get support with childcare and other important aspects of their careers like funding and sponsorship. Hopefully, we are getting towards a more inclusive society where media and sports institutions make it easy for women to be athletes and mothers if that's what they want. It would be great for them to not have to choose between one or the other. And for regular people, science is showing more and more how sports can benefit women's health overall and also during and after pregnancy. Of course, if you want to start exercising during your pregnancy or keep exercising, you should always take medical advice from your doctor. And of course, the exercise practice during and after pregnancy has to be specifically designed for you and your needs. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. If you did, consider sharing this episode with your friends. If you are on YouTube by any chance, you can also and I would love to chat with you in the comment section if you have any input to add to the conversation. Thank you for tuning in and see you in the next one.